Jeff Mesnick. I'm here with the Channel Marketing Journal, and we're here in lovely Arizona, Scottsdale to be specific. And I'm here with Jay McBain from Forrester Research. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. You don't get a view like this very often when doing a video, so I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's not so bad. I don't know if they can see the lake in the background and the putting greens. But,
that's right.
Yeah, it's not so bad. So how about starting off telling us a little bit about what you do with Forrester and the focus that you have there?
Sure. So I've been in the channel for 24 years now, and most of that time was spent running channels for companies like IBM and Lenovo.
Yep.
I spent 5 years running a company called Channelize, which was a startup, doing AI and mobile and social and some fun things, again, around the channel. And I joined Forrester last June, so I'm a couple of weeks shy of a year now.
Oh, great.
And I study, I'm very data-driven, and a lot of these questions about the future of the channel, we go and study and talk in front of a lot of audiences and things like that about where things are going and what they can do to prepare for it.
So today you were speaking with us about how there's a transformation occurring in the channel. And it's really, in some ways, a wake-up call for channel marketers. You talked about how there's a lot of partners who are reaching the age of retirement because they've been doing this for so many years. So maybe you could share with us a little bit about what that means for the vendors and for channel marketers.
Yeah, sure. And when I spoke today, we're going through an industry now that's 37 years old, and looking at the average partner in the technology space, and there's 600,000 around the world. Many of them started their business in the early 80s, with IBM, or later 80s with Compaq. Some of them started in the later 80s, 90s with Microsoft, but it puts the average age today at 58. So not only is the channel down by 36% in the last 10 years in terms of number of partner firms, but 40% of the remaining plan to retire in the next 6 years. So we're in a demographic changeover that's happening now, and with all the digital transformation and cloud and new business buyers and everything else that's happening, it's compounded by this problem that we're going through a demographic changeover at the same time.
Right. So what does that mean for like a vendor and a channel marketer? They're trying to address their channel partners. They're trying to grow their channel partner ecosystem. They're trying to focus in on solutions to sell. How is this going to affect them?
Well, we're finding a couple things. One is that, if you talked to me a few years ago, I would have expected all the channel partners to make the move to the new buyer and to work with vendors, to build out these new digital transformation and other solutions. And we're finding that's not the case.
Okay.
And so with 65% of all tech decisions today made outside of IT, we've gone and interviewed those buyers and asked them, how do they get information? How do they make decisions? What does their journey actually look like in numbers? And then who do they end up inviting into the room to help them?
Right.
And we were surprised to hear that it's not the usual suspects. The traditional channel isn't in the room. The people fixing PCs or doing break fix or managed services, running cables, whatever it is, aren't helping the new lines of business. Marketers, salespeople, finance, HR, operations. With their solutions, they're inviting what we call shadow channels into the room.
Yep.
And I define 5 different sites of shadow channels, but there's literally millions of companies now coming into the technology influence game. And channel marketers have to understand who they are, how applicable they are, and what type of influencer or advocate could they be, and what does a program look, wrapped around that look like?
So it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of the channel marketers that I talk to, they kind of discuss the idea that they've got 5% of their channel partners that they really focus in on. But if there's a transformation occurring, then it's the channel marketers that are looking for those shadow resellers that you referred to, or shadow partners.
Yeah.
So that's probably where they need to almost make a leapfrog moment, I think you use that term, to try to find those partners.
Yeah, what we advise is it's more of a parallel strategy.
Okay.
For the next 10 or 20 years, the traditional channel isn't going away.
Right.
We're not selling magazines here with, death on the front cover to get clicks. But it's in a slow, declining, single-digit world.
Right.
So to explore these new buyers and, what will be 80% of all tech decisions made outside of IT, you have to look at it in different ways.
Right.
And so I call it more of a parallel strategy.
Okay.
You'll have your gold, silver, bronze program with all your traditional incentives and onboarding, co-marketing, co-selling, everything else you do with the channel.
Right.
You'll run that, but that's not where the focus should be.
Okay.
You know, the parallel focus needs to be then on what this influence chain looks like in terms of the new buyer and how to get in that room. Who in that room can help get you introduced to that buyer? And it's a little bit of a different approach. I call it a celestial approach,
Right.
as opposed to a linear approach.
Right.
And when the stars and moon align, as a marketer, as a brand, how do you become part of that conversation?
I like the idea of the influence chain. I think that's a brilliant kind of concept, because a lot of these, so we heard at a conference recently Gabriella Schuster talk about, and she's really big at Microsoft about partner-to-partner marketing. And it seems that with the transformation happening that you're talking about, and this new influence chain that's occurring, that partners need to find new ways to partner with one another so that they can really engage. Is that something that you're seeing, or?
We definitely are, and we're measuring it.
Yeah.
So for example, M&A, merger and acquisitions, are
Yeah.
off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just partners acquiring partners. We're having accountants acquire partners, and digital agencies acquire partners,
Right.
and vice versa. And we're seeing a lot of these different shadow channels start to come together in more traditional partnership type of programs.
Right.
So, you know, it's interesting now when I walk into a partner and meet their channel chief
Right.
and have them walk me through their gold, silver, bronze program, and for me to do the calculus in my head of, okay, you're partnering with other partners and you understand in your account, which maybe 10 years ago you owned the account,
Right.
but now with so many different conversations happening, you're just trying to influence all 10 lines of business and all these different kinds of conversations. And you understand that there's now maybe 100 different players involved in what was your account,
Right.
influencing and actually implementing technology solutions.
Right.
So where you fit is more of a partnership play now than what it would have been in the past.
And you also mentioned that part of that transformation is occurring because there's a change in the IT decision makers aren't decision makers anymore, the IT owners.
Correct.
It's going to the business owners. So one of the things we found is that content in the marketing programs is still very product focused.
It is.
And we've been wondering about the transformation that's needed to solution-based content. Are you starting to see some of that happen, or?
We are, and the interesting thing is shadow channels will come with their own demands
Mhm.
in terms of what they need.
Okay.
They don't need, spec sheets and product, feed charts and
Right.
and these comparison charts and feature function benefit stuff. What they're asking for is case studies and
Right.
white papers and ebooks that are specific to the sub-industry that I'm calling on, specific to the line of business buyer, the geography, the sector, the segment, the size, and the stack,
Right.
the technology that we're actually selling in.
Yep.
If you can bridge all 5 of those hyper specialties and give me the perfect case study, that's what I want to help
Right.
me win deals.
And could video stories work? Consumer
Absolutely.
stories? Yeah.
Yeah, so when you look at the vehicles, there's over 30 of them.
Yep.
And you do need to produce, podcasts and vodcasts and webinars. You need to
Yeah.
produce traditional newsletters, and there's all kinds of different ways, and social community groups. We talk to, about 80% of these buyers doing all of the research up front.
Yep.
And when they're Googling, in their location, you need to be on page 1.
Right.
When they're, on their social networks, on LinkedIn groups and Facebook groups, asking questions,
Yep.
you got to be there not selling, but participating.
Right.
When they're reading their email in the morning, you have to be in the newsletters of the magazines and communities that they're a part of, not, some other,
Right.
That you're already involved in. When they're, going through their motions, you have to somehow hit them 7 times, which is the marketing rule,
Right.
during this whole conversation,
Right.
and that gets you in the room.
Right. This has been great, and it's been actually incredibly hot out here. I don't know about you, but it's like starting to sweat. So I really appreciate the time. So Jay, it's been fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.